I've been looking at Xbox's business for a while now, and I have to tell you, it's hard for me not to say that I'm kind of happy that Xbox lost the console war. Now, it may sound off or it may sound wild to somebody else, but I can say that from this perspective of 2025, seeing how much Xbox has pretty much decided that it would take a pro consumer approach, because as it was almost losing its lunch and being bodied in the console war, it had only one option, and that option was to turn to serve its customers in the very best way that it could. There are still shortcomings, no doubt about that. However, there is no doubt, nor is there any contention, that Xbox has not thrown itself out there to make sure that its own consumer and its own customer base is served. I'm looking right now at the number of games that Xbox is about to launch on the PlayStation platform. And this is something that I've actually encouraged for, at least going on 2 years. I remember right after Starfield came out and the conversations were going on, I said, yes, they need to take these games to Starfield because the industry was shifting and changing. A lot of studios have closed down because their developers could not be supported because their games didn't sell or stopped selling. In fact, I remember Laura Fryer's most recent video where she was talking about how after Warner Brothers greenlit Middle Earth Shadow of Mordor, a kid came to the office, to the development studio that day to, as kind of a, thing to see her dad. There was a celebration. And the kid was so happy. And so they wondered, why is the kid happy? And the kid told her and said, I'm happy that my dad doesn't have to move. And now he can basically stay, we can stay here. And I don't have to go make new friends, new schools, and all that. There are human beings behind these gaming projects, and the volatility of the gaming industry affects them. This is the one thing that a lot of people are not necessarily, keen on hearing, because in their minds, what do they care? I bought an Xbox because I was promised exclusivity. I bought a PlayStation because I was promised exclusivity and all that talk. But ladies and gentlemen, exclusivity is dying, and Xbox has recognized it and has basically, understood that this is the predicament that the gaming industry is going to be facing. So what they've decided to do is to make a sustainable business that's going to go ahead and serve their audiences, right? And then also keep their developers employed and making video games, while at the same time also serving a general audience of gamers that are far and wide. This is their plan and their idea to make sure that their business stays afloat. PlayStation, on the other hand, has also taken some aspects of this approach by moving its games to PC as well, and has not necessarily committed fully into putting more games on Xbox and Nintendo Switch. But Xbox could not be bothered. It's realized that there is an ecosystem here and gamers who will be happy to give money for these particular titles should they come their way. This is why now you're seeing the picture as it's painted, and this may never happen again, but there are a good number of Xbox games that are converging on the top pre-ordered games list on PlayStation. And it's not that they're converging at different times, they're converging almost all at the same time. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle in pre-orders has now overtaken, both in its premium edition and its regular edition, has now overtaken Death Stranding, and also overtaken Forza Horizon 5, which is also another Xbox game. And trailing behind them are games like Doom: The Dark Ages and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, which is coming out in June. So this first half of 2025 is going to see Xbox actually put this notion to test. They were never even this fortunate when they went third party first, because they did that on PC. And on PC with Steam, they didn't even have these games available in this kind of a release cadence. Now, granted, this is a mixture of old games and new game, depending on how you want to look at it. Indiana Jones is old game for the Xbox user. It's Doom: The Dark Ages is new to the Xbox user because it's going to be launching day and date. And Forza is more than even almost old game at this point, with its 5-year differential or so from the release date from the Xbox Series X and S, and even now this particular platform. Wait, it's 5 years old, right? So it's probably older than that. Or maybe it came out with the Series X and S. I didn't even know when it came out. But all this to say that This particular business ideology and its goal to be sustainable is one that is now being seen by people who had been detractors out there. Even those who were on Xbox, even those who were on PlayStation that were making a mockery of this are starting to see that Xbox games are simply going to just choke out PlayStation games if they continue with this kind of a cadence. I mean, look at Death Stranding 2 where it's sitting. It's got some really good pre-orders, don't get me wrong. However, you mean to tell me that this is not competitive pressure or competitive stress? Do you want me to whip out the econ textbook so that we can go over it again to see that instead of PlayStation now getting, I don't know what percentage they'll be getting. Hey, y'all got to tell me, by the way, because I don't know, man. I'm going to put a question mark over Death Stranding 2. Is it a PlayStation game or not? If you guys can answer me, then I'll give it a percentage. Please, if you're a PlayStation fan in the comment section who's been hounding me about MLB The Show and these other games, I'd like for you to explain to me what you would consider the PlayStation, the Death Stranding 2 game. But with all this in place, I strongly believe right now that Xbox is now, the picture of its domination is now being painted on one canvas, and now you can see it, right? If you can't see it, keep looking. Perhaps you might be able to spot it very soon. Because I can tell you, man, if they keep doing this, it's over. Like, it's over. PlayStation has no mouth, no leg in terms of release cadence with their games. They can sell all the consoles they want. In fact, the more consoles they sell, the better it is for Xbox. How can Xbox? They've basically taken their disadvantage and made it an advantage for themselves. What a way to go. Shout out to Phil Spencer, the chess master. It's okay. People are probably going to laugh and mock in the comment section, but you haven't had to be responsible for thousands of people under you who are looking to maintain their jobs and their livelihoods. Until you've done that, come back and talk in the comment section, and maybe we might be able to entertain your, in quote, expertise as PlayStation, who is not taking this approach, yet cosplaying that it can sustain itself, continues to shutter studios at the end of the day. The reality is these studios, their games are going to now have another means to sell. So it's going to be hard for them to go anywhere, if you get what I mean. Because, you know, you're going to see this game Indiana Jones in a great circle in the next Black Friday sale, the Christmas sale, and it's just going to be churning out money 70% over and over again. The cat's out of the bag. When you run the numbers, you're going to see that this is interesting stuff. Thanks for watching the video. Peace out.